freedom has never been free. In fact, freedom has always lied within the hands of the few, the proud, the brave, the ones that dare go where we dare not go, and the ones that dare see what we dare not see. They stand guard 24/7, willing to protect the very fabric of this great nation. That all men are born free, free from outside threat of danger, but danger always exists because the enemy never sleeps. And every now and then a hero dies, and we must stop to give a moment of silence or two to reflect on a life not called to duty, as one would say, but one that chose a life of dignity, pride, honor, and respect. My name is Cordell Gibson, and I'm honored to discuss some of these brave men and bring to you the 1944 War Museum and its curator, Mr. Nathan Pinter.
Hey, how you doing today? I'm Nathan Pinter, and I'm the curator of the 1944 War Museum in Washington, Missouri.
Yo, everybody, this is your boy KG, and I got a special treat for you guys today. Found in the 1944 War Museum in Washington, Missouri.
Where we're staying now is the Pacific Theater room. The museum is divided up between the Pacific Theater, the European Theater, and the home front. And then, of course, we have our main area that houses all kinds of different artifacts. The case I'm standing in front of, it's just various things guys brought home from war. So in this case, we have, you'll notice a very long flag. It's a Japanese naval flag, the iconic 1911, the sidearm of almost anyone, Army, Marine. And in this one, you won't be able to see it on the video, so you just have to visit here to get a good look at a pair of Japanese boots. The individual who brought it home was Captain Paul Anderson. Let's see here. Up here, we have an Arisaka rifle and a Japanese parade sword. Up top here, we have a model of the Enola Gay, which of course dropped the atomic bombs. This was made by a local World War II veteran, Kenneth Richardson. Mr. Richardson has since passed.
Dude, this helmet is heavy. Holy smokes.
Like I told a little kid earlier, you need a big old noggin like mine. It supports it.
So where do the items come from? So 80% of this museum belongs to you.
Yeah.
Holy
I asked people to bring in photographs of their loved ones from World War II. And they can be framed, they can be any size, and they hang them on the wall. Just put a little label with who the veteran's name is. I mentioned my buddy Freddie Joe's name, Freddie Joe Farnsworth, and I hope he sees this. Freddie has been wonderful. He, big time Hollywood guy. He came out here back in August for the Legion's 100th anniversary. Him and Peter Hills. Peter played Shifty Powers in Band of Brothers, and of course, Freddie's buddy Chad, and then Chris Langlois, who is Doc Rowe's grandson. Doc Rowe was the medic for Easy Company. Anyway, this mannequin right behind you, his boots, leggings, pants, shirt, web gear, and pack all were in the series of the Pacific. So here we are in the European room. You'll notice there's multiple items in here. If I could pick a favorite of the theaters, I would say probably European, because that's where the majority of my relatives served during the war. One of the things you'll see in there is a VAT 69 bottle. Now this uniform belonged to a man named Edward Lay. After I opened the museum, his family brought in many of his wartime items. On the wall here, we have a K98 rifle, which would have been the German infantry rifle the majority of them would have had. Now Mr. Garvey was in the 15th Air Force. He was shot down, and then I believe he was shot twice and taken prisoner.
That's one thing. With every year, we're losing more and more from this time.
That's right.
And I actually found out, possibly, y'all, my grandfather could have served. This is more than just the stuff. It's the people that kind of attracts me to this museum. To hear you tell stories about the people on the wall, and every item in here. Guys, you got to come down here. It's so fascinating to hear Nathan talk, because every single item has a story in here. It's not that, somebody gave me a piece and I'm going to put it up because it looks cool. You've taken the time to talk to these people about these pieces. Why is this so passionate for you? Where does that passion come from?
Oh yeah, no, that one's easy. So I got to grow up around a bunch of these heroes. Both my grandfathers, Ken Yeager and Joe Pinner Sr., both of them served. They were combat vets. Grandpa Yeager was wounded. He was 34th Infantry, and he was a machine gunner. He was in North Africa and Italy. He was wounded at the Volturno River. Grandpa Pinner was 9th Armored 16th Field Artillery, and he served Battle of the Bulge and Remagen Bridge. He was not wounded. I returned Purple Heart.
With every movie, we tend to forget that these were real people. We're not just thinking like, oh yeah, I remember that movie. That's what
General Deedle, and he served kind of the northern area. So this case is, basically so people remember that, hey, at home, the war was still a very real thing. This here is what the uniform of a 2nd Ranger would look like. Now, this uniform belonged to Mr. Everett Weisskopf of Croco, Missouri. But I think he looks pretty good, don't you?
I kind of personally feel like we're losing a little bit of what it means to have a little bit of pride.
I agree.
In this country. A lot of division, divisiveness. What these guys fought for.
We'll tell you this, one of my biggest pet peeves is disrespect.
It almost feels like to me that these are people.
Yeah. No, you're right on with that.
These are people.
Yeah. This was a generation where, everything about them you have to respect. They grew up in the Depression. Most of them were dirt poor. They grew up tough, and next thing you know, we're getting attacked. Everybody was down for helping out their country. There wasn't a person out there who, would have been fine with being a coward, and that's the way it would have been viewed back then. That were too old or disabled found a way to help with the war effort. Everybody wanted to be a part of defeating, the evil that was out there, for lack of a better term. And people's actions at home, that, in my opinion, greatly influenced the outcome of the war, because everybody back then banded together. Politics, anything like that, was about doing the right thing and helping your country and protecting others, and they did it, and it's something to be admired, and these names all had one thing in common, and they were members of the Quapaw Nation. And we decided that the best thing to do was for me to return that quilt. So on June the 3rd, I'm going to be going down to Oklahoma along with a number of the National Archives, and we've prepared not only the quilt, but she's prepared a very special gift to go along with the quilt, and we're going to present it back to the Quapaw Nation. Franklin County has its own Medal of Honor recipient. He's buried in Labadie, George Phillips.
Hate to cut this thing short. I've learned so much. Everybody, what's the address?
Oh, the address is 1380 High Street, Suite 6. Just look for the big green and white star on the door. Eventually,
great place to come down, check out 1944 War Museum. Nathan, I'm KG. Thanks for having me.
Yep,
I really appreciate it.
As a canteen cup that belonged to a French prisoner of war. It was a victory dress. And last but not least in the case, we have the Purple Heart. I don't know if you can see that, the light might be drowning out, but this belongs to my great uncle, George Yeager. George was 7th Armored Division, and he fought at St. Vith, And we believe that Fiardo might have been his last name, but you can see, I don't speak French, but I figured souvenir of, and then these different engagements.